Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby. If you're brand new to this show, the show's all about a little known card game called Magic the Gathering. I'm taking my headphones off because I don't need them anymore. Oh my god, my hair looked terrible. I hate when my hair is this short, because now it's getting to the part where you can see like my bed head and all that stuff, and still can't really brush it to do anything with it. But anyway, so we've got an episode for you all. We brought on Andy and Coyle from the Guardian Project podcast, and we talked, there's some Magic talk in there. There was a lot of D&D talk, and there was plenty of Lord of the Rings talk as well, too, that you may enjoy if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. And then we talked about so much other stuff, too. So I hope you all enjoy this. I had a great time recording with them. It was a lot of fun. I could have gone on for at least another hour, but at the time of the recording, I had to stop because I'm like, oh crap, I need to go to bed soon and wake up early. So before we begin, let's get some announcements out of the way. You can help support this show on Patreon at patreon.com/magicwithzuby, and you can email me, or you can also find the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and you can find me on Twitter at magicwithzuby, on Instagram at magic__Zuby. You can find me on TikTok at mtgzuby, I think it is, or at Magic with Zuby. And you can reach out to me via email at mtgzuby@gmail.com. And we are also sponsored by cardsphere.com, the best place to buy, trade, sell your Magic singles and sealed product. And we have one quick little commercial, and then we will get on with the episode with Coyle and Andy. And that is how you beat the latest standard meta with Abzan.
Ugh, it feels like there's no Magic content out there for someone like me. Someone who doesn't want to be competitive. Someone who is...
Who is a normie?
Yeah, exactly! A normie!
Well, have I got the show for you, the all-new Magic for Normies show.
Hi, I'm Pixie.
And I'm Zuby.
Together, we host the all-new
Magic for Normies.
It is the Magic the Gathering show for all your normie needs. We don't care what deck got into the top 8 or what deck is winning. We care about having fun playing Magic.
That's right, Pixie. You can watch us on Pixie's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PixieKittenPlays and catch the VOD on our YouTube channel, Pixie Kitten Plays. If audio is your thing, you can find episodes on the Magic with Zuby RSS feed. Magic for Normies. Hey everybody, it's Zuby, and I have got the dynamic duo of Andy and Coyle of the Guardian Project podcast. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Just glad to finally do this, because I think we had it originally scheduled last month, and then
we scheduled last month.
Life happened. I honestly can't remember what happened at the time. Oh, that's right. My wife's grandfather passed away. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you.
And 2020 was still happening, and it was a hot mess.
Yeah, it's been hell. Even 2021. We weren't even so 6 days into it, and.
Yeah.
December 37th, 2020 is what we refer to that.
Well, wouldn't it technically be? Oh yeah, it would be December 37th. Yeah, because 31st. It's like just a casual insurrection and all that. Just no biggie, no biggie.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Oh man.
So how you all doing tonight? I'm glad we could finally get this done, because we played EDH a bunch. I've been on your podcast, I think. Was it a year ago or longer?
Yeah, something. What had just come out? It was.
I don't remember.
Ikoria. I think Ikoria was coming out. I think so. It was earlier last year, because we were talking about previews that were coming out, and you streamed with us, and we've streamed with you. So it was just the next step.
Yeah.
The inevitability, as Thanos would say.
I don't get it.
In the famous words of Thanos.
Words of Thanos.
I'm joking. No, so you all have a podcast, Guardian Project podcast, and how long has that been going on for now?
We just released actually today, episode 83. We record weekly, so it's been about a year and a half now. Nice. It's been a while.
Nice. Yeah. Before you know it, 5 years is going to go by.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait.
You can't wait for 5 years to go by?
I don't know. I feel like I'm at that point in life, like that age in life where life stops going slow and starts going fast, and 5 years really is just going to flash before my eyes. But
yeah, it will.
I don't want
to. Dude, I'm going to have an 18-year-old
that.
this year. That's how fast life is going by and all that. And then my daughter's going to be my other daughter's going to be 12. So it's insane. And they're at the age where it's like they want nothing to do with me now. It's like,
yeah.
They're at that teenage like,
are you the nerdy dad?
Oh fuck yeah, and I embarrassed the shit out of them. Hey, well, I mean, at least I tried to get them into Magic and all that, and they're just not into it. And but they do love D&D, so that's at least
there you
one
go.
Plus. Yes.
Yeah. What is her feeling on Star Trek though?
My youngest, she loves Voyager, and that's probably the only one she likes. My oldest, she doesn't really care for it. She likes Doctor Who though. She loves Doctor Who and Supernatural and all that. So it's I can keep her.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, she doesn't have to go.
Yeah, no, she doesn't have to go. Yeah, so you guys have been doing that for about a year and a half now. What's that been like for you both? What have you liked about doing it? What have you found out? What have you learned and all that other good stuff?
So we've learned that it's way easier to do a podcast when you're organized.
What?
Crazy. I know.
I don't know. I'm not going to speak for both of us, but probably the community that we've been introduced to is probably been the best part. And the patrons that we have and the friends that we've made, sounds cheesy, but that really is, it's been the best. I can play Commander whenever I want now. And obviously now that we've been playing from home, you can play whenever, almost. And that's been the most rewarding, I think, to me.
Yeah. I think so. I wasn't originally part of the podcast right from the get-go. I was kind of watching it from the outside, and I was, to be 100% honest, super jealous that two of my friends could get on and just talk about Magic for an hour and release an episode.
Who was the original host or co-host?
So my original co-host was Brian Leathead, and then he had some things come up. He got married, and he's having a baby in the next couple of weeks. And so, and that along with school was just a lot. So we talked about it, and he said, there's a lot going on. And so I said, Coyle, would you like to come on as a co-host? And then we made that change around episode, I think it was, you came in on episode 20, correct?
Yep.
You had been on so you could participate to see how the flow goes, and then you officially came on episode 20.
Yeah, and that was after the first and only episode not featuring Andy Flory.
I've only not been in one show. I work and I traveled for work, and I had to be out of town, and I had no way that I could record, and we were not prepared to record from home like we are now, because we recorded from home for so long because we couldn't get together. There's only one show I haven't been on.
Yeah, but I guess in those early episodes that I was on, it kind of felt like we were recording an episode almost for ourselves and kind of releasing it into the void. We didn't have a big following or anything. And the following really, really grew, like Andy said, the year 2020 during COVID, when everyone went online and was able to see our content when we started streaming Commander games. And so then it became less of a, we're just having fun getting together and talking about it. It actually became kind of a little bit of a responsibility, but it's still fun to do every week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
But now we have this obligation. If we feel like we have an obligation to the people who are listening to the episode every week, and we don't want to disappoint. I think we might even take it harder now than we did before if we were to mess up or do something like that.
No, and I think that's one of the important things to learn about doing something like this is the having fun part, making sure you're enjoying it. And because you all are, both of you are just like me. We're not doing this full time or anything.
Right.
And if it's not worth if you're not having fun doing it, then it's just not worth doing. And I can tell you 5 years going into this, because I think actually it's either this month or beginning of next month, it'll be 5 years for this podcast. And I've been having a blast doing it, like more so than ever, because 2020 I thought was, I honestly thought I was going to be near the end of my journey with this, and just something happened in 2020 where the pandemic happened, and just it started becoming more and more fun.
Yeah, we got to release a lot more content this year than we had in the past. And now that we're streaming every Thursday night, we've been able to, I guess, share that live with folks and get feedback on our decks that we hadn't previously gotten. And we've talked about it before. I've seen more decks than I think I would see or would have ever seen, variety of deck wise, because we're playing with people that aren't in our local meta game. So I get to see decks that my friends wouldn't have built. You know, a $50 budget deck this, or a $150 budget this. I mean, that's probably been one of the most interesting things.
Oh yeah, the amount of EDH that I have played in the past year is because before the pandemic, I'd maybe get with my friends once a month to be able to play some EDH because that was all we could do. You know, and when virtual EDH / spell table came out, it's been, oh my God, I've played so much EDH. It's like, that's all I want to play. It's so hard to sometimes play Arena some days because I'm like, oh, this sucks. I could just quickly play some EDH instead.
We learned about Spell Table because of you, because we were streaming using Whereby, the program Whereby, and we tried using Skype. We tried using other programs, and then you said, use this new program, Spell Table. And I remember, it feels weird saying I was there when Spell Table started because we started using it.
Did you remember when it was called virtual EDH?
Yes.
Hipster style.
And they kept changing the interface.
Yeah.
And so we had we had already cropped everything so that we could capture it for OBS. And I was like, oh my gosh, they changed the website again. I need to quickly recrop everything.
Yeah.
So we went through it probably 4 or 5 times, but I feel like we were there as they really exploded.
Yeah, I remember one of the creators of Spell Table came in on one of our streams, and he freaked out because I disappeared in the middle of the stream because my mouse has a back button that I accidentally hit, and then I disappeared. And it was right before Channel Fireball's first Command Fest at home. So they were like, we're trying to fix all the bugs, and then this just happened where I just dropped out of nowhere, and they were freaking out. But
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I remember Spell Table had a thing where in the beginning you couldn't have 2 webcams plugged into your computer. For whatever reason, it didn't like that. And the creators of Spell Table, I remember reaching out to them about that, and dude, they were so responsive and told me exactly what to look for and and how they could fix it and all that. And dude, the guy came out with a hot fix within a couple hours and all that. Just like, holy shit, they were awesome. And I'm happy that they got bought out by WotC and all that, or acquired, I should say, whatever the terminology is. I'm still a little apprehensive about it.
Hey, I feel like we're only going to get we're only going to see benefits from it. I don't think of it negatively, but it'd be. I mean, the more enhancements that they can give to it would be great.
I think it'll be a really good for WotC. It'll be a really good data collection tool on how many people are logging and using it, and how many people are using what commanders the most.
Give me that data, sweet data.
Sure. I didn't even think about collecting the commander data loaded up in there. In that commander spot. I mean,
maybe they can. I don't know, but it would make sense that you could.
I've even seen folks playing Oathbreaker, and they've been using the second slot for the commander because you can actually you can type in your signature spell. So people have been using it because it's pretty easy to track Oathbreaker as well.
Oh, and the thing I love about it is, I mean, not just for commander, but I'm sure you've seen me stream the 4-person sealed games that we've done, and because dude, it's just like, it's a perfect program, and it's like, even when all this is over, vaccines are gone and done, and Magic Fests are back, like, I'm still going to be using this for streaming for I don't know how long.
We'll stream every Thursday. We've done Two-Headed Giant, and we found a capture program for Plane Chase, so we were able to display that on stream as well. So we've done Plane Chase and Two-Headed Giant on stream, and that's really fun as well.
I'm going to need to talk to you off camera on how to do that, especially Plane Chase and Two-Headed Giant, because there's been talks about that, but I'm like, to me it sounded like a pain in the butt. Like, I'd have to secretly chat with my partner to be able to determine, okay, what cards do you have or something,
So we did do that, but the fact that Andy and I both have 2 or 3 webcams, we were able to just have another webcam off to the side where we could show each other our hands and do that with Two-Headed Giant. And then we were playing against Tap That MTG with Leslie and Shauna. I think they were in the same room.
They were in the same room at the time, so they would just hold their hands up, and we would hold ours up to the second webcam or wherever it was. He would go, the second card over, don't do that one, whatever it was. So it worked.
Yeah, it could work. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to make sure whoever you're playing with, they have 2 webcams for it.
Yeah, essentially.
But no, it's been great for EDH, and your guys' podcasts have been. It seems like it's doing well. You guys have got a really cool community, and and you've been able to share that community with mine as well, and vice versa, and all that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. It's been fun. It's some of the EDH games we have. I'm still never gonna forget that Grixis versus Azorius EDH game. That was like
gross, and I love every minute
it was
of it.
gross, and the thing that I liked about it was, all of us were playing disgusting decks. So it wasn't the thing like where, Andy's the only one playing Azorius control and everyone else is trying to play fair decks, right? It's
Zuby also played gross Azorius control.
Oh yeah,
and I played gross Grixis control.
And then I remember Johnny, he played just Nekasar Grixis wield stupidity.
It was Grand Arbiter, Lavinia, Nekusar, and then
Nicobolas?
And then the Grixis flip Nicobolas.
Yeah, that was great.
That game was a lot of fun.
It was great. And then when you what was it? You did the knowledge pool lockout. At that one point, and what was it? I think because I already had Teferi out on the field, the 5-mana planeswalker.
You were able to minus and get rid of the knowledge pool.
And then
the Azorius players got there, and that was the plan.
The Grixis players were very Grixis in the fact that we did start killing each other towards the end because there can only be one.
And the whole time, Zuby's heuristic study didn't get removed, and he was I'm holding like 80 cards. Okay, I don't know what.
I thought I was going to get milled out at one point because I don't have a Lab Maniac or anything in that deck, but thank God I was able and I think I had Smothering Tithe out too at the time. And I had so many treasures. So I think I was, if I remember, wasn't I able to approach twice on the same turn or something?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was an alt-win con.
I think I did approach, then dig through time, then approach again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God,
sense.
So
we've been,
gross.
speaking of growing our community, we've been able to utilize Discord, and you were gracious and you invited us to your Discord channel, which was really great. You have a lot of really great people in yours, and we've been able to look at how you had things set up and figure out some automation and the bots that you're using to make it a better experience for our community. So actually great. This year, one of our New Year's resolutions was to really revamp our Discord, and we're going to try to get it linked up with.
Well on the way to that already.
We are. So we have rules now, not that we're being sticklers about anything. We have like kind of like a code of conduct. We have a lot of emojis that we had made. We reorganized our channel, channels. Yeah. So, and we're trying to get that linked up with Patreon now. So that's kind of our next thing is to get patrons actually access in an automated fashion, as opposed to having to send me a direct message and me get them an invite.
Yeah, no, I finally got all that set up too. And I love the bot. I'm sure you guys have seen it, the Apollo bot, where I used to sign up for. Have you seen that in my Discord?
I've seen it. We don't use it, but that's when you use to sign up for your streams.
Yeah. So handy. It's what I've started doing in my Discord because I get a lot of people wanting to play, come on stream and all that. So now I've started doing thing where just sign up, you can play for a game, and then we'll switch out other people.
Yeah.
And all that, and it's been great. It's been great doing that.
I just got to find a way to link that bot to a Google Calendar to automatically create Google events.
Yeah.
So oh my gosh! Yes.
We need to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's because not only that, but I've been wanting to because I book a lot of podcast guests, obviously, and like I live and die by my calendar now. I'm at that age where I'm old enough to where I don't know anything that's going on. If it's not on my calendar, I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out something because I need to be able to send calendar invites to, my guests and all that stuff. And just
as soon as we figure it out, we'll let you know.
Yeah, because I know I could easily just do a Google Calendar invite, but there's got to be something better and easy where I can just shoot something instead of just having to gather all these email addresses, right? Because what if some of the people I'm interviewing don't want to give that out,
Right.
Which for good reason,
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know about that because that'd be so handy, and especially for the streams too. Because aren't I due to come on your stream like next month or something? Or I already forgot.
I think the second week of February.
Yeah, we have what we're doing right now is we're just tracking on an Excel spreadsheet in one of our shared Google in a shared spread. Oh my gosh,
a shared spreadsheet
on Google Drive. And but we would love to get that into some sort of a calendar. So
yes, you're currently scheduled for February 11th, and our fourth guest is not confirmed. So
not confirmed yet.
Okay. Let me make sure I have that in my calendar now. I can't remember if I added it or not. February 11th, because that shouldn't be a Magic for Normies. Hold on, I'm going to put in my calendar now.
Last Thursday before Valentine's Day.
That's right. Maybe we'll do a love theme.
Well, isn't Valentine's on the 14th, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so that makes it a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
You have to, so in that case, every deck has to be themed in some way towards Valentine's Day, but you can pick how that's themed. If your commander has a bow and arrow, you'd be like, well, Cupid has a bow and arrow. That way it's Valentine's theme. You have to stretch the theme.
I'm running Vivian's arc bow, therefore it's a Valentine's theme.
Okay. Now I got to think like of any of my existing decks. I mean,
if it's red and it loves you by sending you red hot lightning bolts. Torbrand?
Yeah, I was about to say like Torbrand, he sends a lot of love with Fiery Emancipation, like Shatter Skull summoning, and Price of Glory and Citadel of Pain. Hey, it's a type of love that people are into, the pain.
That's true.
Yeah, anything works.
See? Or or it could be my mono black Ayara deck because she wins a lot by devotion. So, being devoted to Ayara, as she slowly drains your life.
Each creature comes in, it gives out a Valentine card to Ayara.
Yes.
You can play blue-white control, and then it'll be like your significant other on Valentine's Day, and you can only do something if they say it's okay.
Oh. Counter spells.
Like basically call it Mother May I. Mother May I please cast a spell.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god. Oh man, but yeah, that's that I'll have to think about that whether because I know I'm building. So I just got done with my birds deck. I know I'm going to be buying the cards for Averna Cascade next.
Okay.
I don't think that'd be very love theme. And then my next one, if I have it done in time, because my next deck is going to be Rogak and his Kitty Falthus. I know that's not the best partner command combo and all that, but I don't care. It's my whole like story behind it is this little kobold has a pet kitty, and he's gonna gather some of these weapons and try to swing and kill people. And there's a mutate sub theme as well too.
Okay.
Like as he levels up, he turns into a dirge bat or something.
So like how do they I want to know how these two characters are meeting, and I want you to incorporate the fact that the cat is literally stronger than Rograk when they first meet.
Well, so the cat is a familiar, right? So it could be the kobold, he's a warrior, got banished from his tribe because he wasn't as strong or anything like that, and I don't know, he happened to come across a spell book and opened it up, and out popped this cat, and the cat was an asshole to him, and then they eventually got along. That's
okay.
Just right off the cuff, I just made it all up.
I like that the cat was an a-hole.
Yeah.
Classic cats.
I have two, so I would know.
I'd almost want to make that a D&D character now. Just a kobold fighter that is in low strength and has got and somehow convince the DM to let me have a cat familiar that just doesn't follow any of my commands.
You gotta take one level of wizard, get that familiar,
right.
All the other levels going into fighter. Yeah, for sure.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah.
No.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does.
But isn't that the fun of D&D though, to play?
It really is.
I mean, yeah, it's all fun and games to like play the optimized characters and all that stuff, but sometimes you want to play the stupid ones.
Well, that's like in our campaign when Andy casts 4 tidal waves in one turn, and then I'm sitting there just hoping I survive the fight so I can talk to the person after the fight, because that's what I do in D&D.
It was my first
talking.
campaign, so I was a storm sorcerer, and I didn't actually really know what I was doing. So I was given some really cool feats where I could like travel and turn into water at some points. I was just and I tidal waved the party a few times. I needed things to happen, and we needed to get going.
It's not the worst thing in the world to happen. So Coyle, you're ones who like to tries to talk to the enemies and all that.
Yes, I pretty much always play a rogue, and I max out deception and persuasion.
Are you one of those rogues who's like always has to steal something or has the worst ideas ever?
I have the best ideas ever.
Okay.
And I don't steal things. I take things that rightfully belong to me.
Oh god. So story time a little bit. So last Friday in my campaign that's been going on for 2+ years, they're in hell right now, and they fought a Baelor for the first time. With Baelor, which is basically a Balrog from Lord of the Rings. And the rogue thought it would be a good idea to climb on the back of the Baelor to try to stab it. And so my campaign has had a history of really bad rogues. And the bad rogues have been mainly bad players. We in the beginning of the campaign, we had this rogue. He wanted Boots of Elvenkind and the Cloak of Elvenkind so bad. He literally walked into a magic shop, asked for the boots and cloak, but it was too expensive for him because he only had like 50 gold or something. I'm like, there's no way you're going to be able to buy it. So then he says out loud, "Oh, I'll just come back and steal it," to the shopkeep, and I'm all like, "Did you just say that out loud?" I'm like, he's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Okay." Now you've got guards following you that are watching your every move, and then it got to a point so bad with that rogue, the PCs had to tie him up and just like tie him to a chair and just keep him there because he would just keep on doing the dumbest things.
See, that's when the DM needs to come in and just perform a quick murder. That's all you got to do.
Well, the player eventually had to leave the campaign, so what I did was I took some liberties with his character where I role played just like him, where he would because he was really good at deception and persuasion, right? So really good at persuading people that he was something that he wasn't. So he managed to join with some really powerful enemies to convince him, like, yeah, he's this badass drow elf, and all this stuff with them, and he but what was funny was everyone else in the party knew that this drow elf was like serious business. Like, if you cross them, you're not just gonna die, like you're gonna serve in hell and all that stuff. But knowing everybody in the party just sort of like, okay, sure, let them burn.
Yeah, go for it. Go hang out with Lolth and all the drow.
Yeah. Oh man, but I love DMing. That's my passion with D&D. It's been so much fun doing. But yeah, as far as that rogue that climbed on the Baelor, he did die, so it wasn't
Makes sense.
the smartest idea.
You climb onto the back of a molten being. I mean, you're gonna get hit by some molten stuff.
Yeah, I basically ruled it to where
stuff.
Yeah, I basically ruled it where he did catch on fire, and basically all of his equipment, because he did end up getting revived or healed or whatever, because they're all like level 15, 16 at this point. And you'd think maybe level 15, 16, the rogue would be a little bit smarter not to do something like that. But anyways, so basically what I had happen was anything that wasn't magical is completely gone from him. So I think all that leaves is his cloak and his sword. So I'm like, you're basically naked right now in hell.
It's hot there, so it's better to not have clothes on, I guess.
That's true. That's
Maybe.
true.
I mean, well,
sauna.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, and that's right. He did sell his soul to Rakdos because I put Rakdos down there as sort of like a demon king or something, and he sold his soul to Rakdos to get some better gear. And I'm like,
did the gear burn?
No,
or was it the magical stuff?
I haven't decided what magic item to give him because it's definitely going to be cursed. I just don't know what to give him yet.
Cursed in a Rakdos fashion, I assume.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So fun and murder.
Yeah. Oh man. So what's been up, guys? What's been up? I'm glad I get you.
I built a new deck.
Ooh, which
We're
one?
Getting ready. So I built a Togo and Arden deck, so a Boros equipment deck. So Arden is the one that at the beginning of combat you can equip anything, any equipment and auras to target creature you control. And Togo is the one that makes all the rocks. So landfall, it makes a rock. The rock can equip, and then you can tap and throw a rock.
That's right. That's right.
I just want to. I need to interject real quick because Arden does not say target creature you control. It says target creature or player.
Or player. Coyle did.
But it could be an opponent's creature.
It could be because Coyle has built a deck. I'm sure he'll talk about it. But yeah, no, I took it for it's maiden voyage for the first time. I did not win, but I saw changes that I need to make. I don't typically play Boros. I also don't typically play equipment. But I'm gonna try and make it work. I'm gonna make some tweaks before I decide whether or not I'm a huge fan or if it was a dud. I don't know where I've landed yet, but one game is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty cool.
I got to make 4 or 5 rocks though, and honestly, that was really all I was looking for.
Yeah, and if
now
you can
say I've done it,
kill someone by throwing rocks at them, then I think that's a huge flavor win too.
Yeah.
Especially if they're a stoner.
Ha.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Sorry.
Pretty good. So I did not notice that with Arden where any number of auras to target permanent or player. So you thinking curses?
So I built a Bant curses and like all of the auras that are like the vows and the ones where they goad your opponent's creatures and stuff.
Okay, so I'm in love with this deck already. Who's the other commander?
Kaidel.
Kaidel.
So
is that also partner?
Yeah. So Kaidel is 2-color partner in Simic. So combined with
yeah. Okay.
The original partner. Yeah, one of the originals.
Right. Okay.
So she says you could tap for a colorless mana for each card you've drawn so far this turn. So the caveat for this deck is it's also companioned with Karuga. So everything is 3 CMC or higher. And that's pretty much just to have a card draw thing that's like quote unquote starting in my hand at the beginning of every turn. And it synergizes well with Kaidel. But really the deck is all about putting curses on people, vows, and that kind of stuff on creatures.
This.
And then win conditions are either mill, because I have some mill enchantments in there, and Karuga hopefully will draw me like 20 cards in one turn at some point.
Okay.
Colossification.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because Arden, so Colossification, when it enters the battlefield, whatever creature it's enchanting gets tapped, and then Arden can just move the aura over to like himself or herself. I don't know Arden's pronouns. And so then it doesn't have to tap. You can even use it as a combat trick and attach it to one of your opponent's creatures to tap it down and then attach it to Arden so that they'll have a blocker. And the other one is Corrupted Consciousness to steal someone else's giant creature, and then it gains Infect and then kill someone with their own creature with Infect.
Oh my god.
Should be fun. Completely untested. Not going to play it tomorrow because it's untested.
That sounds...
That's the best time to play it, when you make all the mistakes live and the audience tells you how much you messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that the best? Magic players are not afraid to give their opinion at all.
They gotta keep me honest though, and they're like, Andy, the card does not say that, and I look at it and I go, I don't know why.
Oh yeah, for rule stuff, but it's always like they're not afraid to tell you like when something sucks.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
true.
Got
don't
that.
don't touch my trash, as we like to say in our Discord.
Yeah, don't touch my trash. It's like, I know it's trash. Oh my God. So Coyle, you're giving me so many ideas. So I think I want to build something similar, but not with Kydell. I'm looking at maybe going either Esper or Jeskai or even Mardu or something.
I think that's automatically going to be a better idea, because as long as you include black, honestly, is where you get a lot of your curses and stuff from. The only reason I went with Kydell is because I wanted Karuga, and I have to get those two colors somehow. And Thrasios is only 2 CMC, so it wouldn't be legal with Karuga. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm looking at Silas Ren. I mean, I don't even care about the other commander. I just want just the colors for it.
Yeah, right. Arden only costs 3, so it's really efficiently costed to play Arden, and you don't need Arden out until you've already played things that you want to start moving.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to build a curse deck. Yes.
Yeah, yes. And then you get like Imprisoned in the Moon and Curse of the Dryads.
Look what you've done, Coyle. Look what you've done.
Yes. Beautiful. Now,
don't you imprison my commander in the moon ever.
I will.
Never touch my commander, and don't ever put it in the moon.
Now the thing is with Arden is all of those curses can only go to one target. So you might also want to think about including like a Helm of the Host to get more than one Arden, so that you can move stuff around to more than one player.
Because they'll trigger off each different time.
That is correct.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, this is going to be great. The only thing I hate about this deck already is just the fact that, playing it on spell table and having to remember who has what. That's the only downside.
Very difficult online.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Like I took apart my Thief deck because of that, because I used to play it a lot at the LGS, but on spell table, I'm like, oh, this is a pain in the ass to remember. Like, I've pretty much taken out almost every card that has to deal with stealing stuff from other people, like even taking from their graveyards, only because I'm lazy and I don't feel like having to remember.
We've been very fortunate that we created as promotional giveaways as part of our Patreon awards. We created some tokens with our logo and our contact information on one side, and the other side is actually just a blank card that we had printed. So we use these as token markers, but we also use Infinitokens, which are really great. But so if you sleeve them either in a plastic sleeve or a hardcover, you can draw anything you want on them. Hi, Zuby. And then we're looking to, the next time we get them printed, we're going to see if we can get them actually printed on true dry erase material.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Because it's really, we thought we printed them appropriately, but I had them printed and I must have just flipped the front.
I don't think it was us, Andy. I think it was them.
Because I think I ordered it correctly. I really do. And the side that I wanted to be like the ultra gloss, they printed on the wrong side of the card. But they were not that expensive. So once we give these out, we're going to resend out to our patrons. And then the whole plan, to be honest, was we quickly had them designed and ordered because we were going to go to Magic Fest Detroit, which was supposed to be in March.
I want to say
March or April of 2020. And we were live recording our show at our producer's house. And it was canceled. Obviously, that was right at the beginning of, we were learning about the coronavirus. And so we had all these tokens. And so we started just mailing them out to people. And Coyle does a lot of sales online. So whenever Coyle would sell cards, he would add a couple. And he's had people reach out and say, what is this? And he's like, it's my podcast. Can you listen? And we are now up to 6,000 listens. And we have not had more engagement previously until now. And obviously we've had time to focus because there's nothing else that we really
like 6,000 listens a month or something, or
no. So right now we're at 6,000 downloads total.
Of
our show. So we're still growing. But before that, we've more than tripled, I think, our listens in the last couple of months.
Nice.
Yeah. So and on average now, our regular listens have more than doubled. So it's been great. And I hope that everybody likes the content we put out, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So how did you two meet? How long have you known each other?
Ooh, I want to tell the story.
Okay, you tell.
Okay. All right. So Andy and I have a mutual friend.
Yep.
Andy's best friend in high school.
Yep.
Went to the same college that I did and was in a fraternity that I ended up joining. And I got close to him. And he ended up being if you're familiar with fraternities, you get a big brother to kind of help you along the process and all that kind of stuff.
So he ended experience.
I didn't have it either.
It was a good experience. I can honestly say there was like no hazing or anything that happened at my particular fraternity. I could not say that about the other fraternities at my school, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I ended up being very close to him. And then I knew Andy. I heard a bunch of stories about Andy through him. You can ask Andy about, cactus blossoms and that kind of stuff from, was it Longhorn Steakhouse or Texas Roadhouse? Okay. Yeah, so I heard a bunch of stories about Andy. I
knew more about me, and I didn't even know Coyle existed, and he knew so much about me.
That's right. So it was at this person's wedding. He was getting married, and the dinner reception that happened afterward. I got sat down to Andy's at the time fiance, Nick, and when I got sat down, he said, "Hey, Nick's a Dungeons and Dragons nerd like you. Talk to him," and that's kind of how I got introduced to him.
I mean, I said hi to Mike, and I didn't talk to him much, and it was like 6 or 7 months later, I was at one of our LGSs just buying normal cards for a commander deck, and Coyle walks in, and I couldn't remember his name. We talked for 2 hours, and I couldn't remember his name, but we both had that I know you thing, kind of happen.
Yeah.
So he goes, "You were at so and so's wedding," and I said, "Yes, I was." And so I randomly said, "Well, do you want to play some Magic?" And then we started playing Standard during the block.
Just after Amonkhet release.
Just after Amonkhet. And then after that, we started playing Commander, and we've been friends since.
Yeah. It was actually, so I'm a mentor for a robotics team, high school robotics team. And one of my students convinced me to learn how to play Magic. I bought a box of Amonkhet, and I bought a couple starter sets, and I ended up opening a Force of Will Invocation in my box of Amonkhet, and I went into the store to sell it. And that's where I saw Andy. And Andy, you were selling a big part of, maybe not your like high-end collection, but you were selling a bunch of bulk and stuff too.
I got rid of my bulk. I was getting rid of my bulk because I was moving from my townhouse to my current house, and I was like, I'm not moving like 60,000 cards. I mean, I buy a lot.
I just did that a couple weeks ago. Got rid of like 70,000 cards.
Some might say enough. So I got rid of the bulk, and I was getting some higher end purchases so I could play Commander because I didn't have a ton of staples. But because I started playing during Gatecrash, so I have been playing since 2013, and it was because we used to hang out with our friends, just Friday, Saturday nights, whatever, and you could only have so many Catan arguments that you can't play Catan anymore. Otherwise, you won't have friends anymore because no one would give me bricks or sheep.
Right.
Or something.
Oh my God. That's one thing with Catan that always frustrates me. You get to a point where no one wants to trade with anyone. You're just like, all right, game's over then.
So they said, play this game with me. And I said, I don't know. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! I collected Pokemon cards growing up. I'm at that age where I was right there when Pokemon started. I was right there when Yu-Gi-Oh! Started. I was too young to learn how to play Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh! I was old enough to understand what to do. And they gave me a mono red deck at a casual tabletop game, and I was like, this game's not fun. I don't like this game because I was playing with shocks and lightning strikes and lightning bolts or whatever. And I was like, how in the world would this ever beat whatever else so-and-so was playing? They were playing something with zombies and stuff. And then I learned quickly, I just didn't like that style of play.
Yeah, right.
And then we started playing, my husband and I, we bought the dual decks Golgari versus Izzet, and that was the first dual deck we bought, and those are pretty evenly matched. And then we built our first commander decks a couple months after that, And when we didn't really know what Commander was, and I had never played at an LGS, so I had strictly been tabletop until Born of the Gods, and that was when I started playing in person.
Wow.
Yeah, with like at an LGS, playing in person at an LGS.
I find it pretty interesting that your first deck was mono red and that you hated it, because the first deck I played was the cursed side of Blessed versus Cursed. So mono black with like zombies and card draws. In love, just from the first moment.
Yeah, I probably would have been the same way. And now I'm an Azorius person and I'm a monster, and it's fine. I accept who I am.
I agree with you, Andy. You're a monster.
So is Zuby. It's fine. We're in it together.
So I didn't realize that both of you were relatively new Magic players. I mean, I know Gatecrash came out it feels like just yesterday, and then you Coyle, you started in Almond Cat. I didn't realize that. I thought you both have been in the game for a while, because some of your knowledge of just the cards, it's pretty well done.
Yeah, it's called being obsessed.
We don't do anything else.
Well, I had that phase where it's like, I'm at a point now where, I'll talk a lot of shit where, it's like, I don't know anything. It's like, I know card names and all that stuff, but I guess maybe it's just personally, I don't have a lot of time to be able to sit and think and configure decks and try to build and brew like I used to, because I'm also I'm doing so much stuff with RPGs right now too, especially behind the scenes, and maybe you two will appreciate this, but I've been actively working for the past couple weeks on, not only am I working on some behind the scenes RPG podcast episodes and all that, and content, I'm also finally convincing my play group to finally play Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Finally, after
Pathfinder 2nd Edition?
Yes.
Have you played it yet?
No.
Okay.
I've read the rule book all back and forth and all that, so it's like I'm pretty familiar with the rules, because I've DM'd, I've been DMing D&D for the past like 3-4 years now, but I've been a DM since I was like 17-18 with D&D. What edition was that? 3rd edition, I want to say, or 2nd.
Yeah. 2nd or 3rd.
And also with other various systems as well. So even though I have not played Pathfinder yet, the rules seem, I can gather what the rules do.
I mean, have you played 3.5 and original Pathfinder?
No, I have not.
Okay.
And I do know, because I've read through the Pathfinder first edition rulebook, and it was just like, oh, this is essentially 3.5 just updated.
It is. It is totally that is exactly what it is. So if you don't have a frame of reference from original Pathfinder actually playing it, I think you're going to have a really good time and not complain about anything in Pathfinder 2.
Oh my gosh, that's all I've seen on the forums, especially when Pathfinder, because I got the 2nd edition book when it first came out. What was it? Not last year, I guess 2019, whenever it came out in 2019. Yep. Dude, the amount of vitriol on the forums that people hated 2nd edition because it wasn't exactly like 1st edition. It's like, shit, you guys are just like D&D nerds, complaining about new editions and all that shit. It's like, just give it a try, or don't play it. Who cares? No one's forcing you to go to this new edition,
That's right. As when they brought out D&D 5th edition, there was that big outcry too. And it's like, just keep playing 4th.
Or 3.5.
I don't know anything about Pathfinder, but the one thing that I do know is that when I go to one of our local board game shops, so it's not an LGS, they don't have any play space, but they have a lot of it's board games. They have racks of just Pathfinder books, and it appears that like Pathfinder has way more content releases than D&D.
They're a lot faster.
I don't know.
Because what I've noticed is not only are the source books like coming out at a faster rate compared to D&D 5th edition, because there's already, so Pathfinder, it's coming up 2 years, I want to say, this summer for 2nd edition, and there's already an advanced player's guide, which is sort of an extended to the core rule book. There's 2 other players source books that are due coming out later this year. There's already 2 monster manuals with a 3rd one on the way this year as well too. So in terms of content releases, it's coming out faster than 5th edition. And I haven't really looked at any of the campaign books yet or anything. But I do know that there's a lot of those coming out as well too.
Right. And so, Andy, I guess for your reference and for listeners who don't know, Pathfinder, we keep referencing 3.5. Dungeons & Dragons 3.0, there was a group of people that made some changes to it to make their own version of Dungeons & Dragons, and that was called 3.5, and it developed into Pathfinder. And so it was all just like kind of just a modification of D&D.
Okay.
I don't know if new Pathfinder is actually supported with models and everything too, so they might be able to focus 100% of their efforts towards the books, the campaigns, the player guides, and all that kind of stuff. And I know for a fact they don't have the resources that WotC does to do player testing, so they had to do public testing, which is why the advanced player guide came out so quick, because there were some changes that they had to make.
Yeah, I didn't follow a lot of, like, I don't follow closely with the whole Pathfinder community in terms of what people I do know the whole big thing that's going on right now, just because now that I'm finally getting my group wanting to try it, I'm now starting to dive back into it, is like the whole guns thing, that because there's going to be a source book on, like, for rules for guns and gunsmiths and all, and people are up in arms about it. I'm like, and the thing that always gets me with RPGs, it's like, yeah, you may not like a rule set that is coming out, you don't have to use it.
Yeah,
that's the perfect thing about it. You don't have to use it.
It's just like Magic's Commander's Rule 0.
Yeah,
you know, talk about what you want to do and what you don't want to do before you start playing.
Exactly. Like the whole big hubbub with D&D this past year with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, where they did the do you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar, so
we own the book. My husband DMs a ton, so I mean, I know, I've seen it. Yeah. I didn't know there was any sort of issue with it.
So the big issue with it was, so in D&D for, like, you know, ages past, whenever you choose a race, like, you know, drow, elf, human, dwarf, gnome, whatever it be, there's always going to be benefits to choosing a race and then your class. Like, a typical dwarf, right, only gets pluses in their stats to usually, like, strength and constitution, right, for an example.
Okay. Sure.
So if you're one of those power gamers and you want to become a wizard, right, a dwarf wizard, that's technically not going to be the best optimized race to be for a wizard, right, because you're going to want to have your boost in intelligence and dexterity, which I do like in Pathfinder 2nd edition. Dexterity is nowhere near as good as 5th edition is. Dexterity is fucking broken in 5th edition.
Yep.
Not every class should have to worry about dexterity. So besides that, so the whole big hubbub when Tasha's Cauldron of Everything came out was they came out with a rule set where, okay, so when you are picking your race, you know, whatever it says for your pluses to your stats, you can now put them in whatever you want. Essentially, I mean, to boil it down in simple terms without going too deep into it. And same with your skills and the stuff that you can be trained in for weapons and armor and all that as well too.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't like that because, and I get their arguments for not liking it, because it essentially makes race a just cosmetic thing, where you're not having to make, like, really have, and this is more for power gamers, where you're not really having to make that conscious choice of, you know, of trying to min-max your character, essentially.
Right.
And I get that.
I didn't know that was a thing when I first played D&D, and we had someone who was like, I can't miss on my shots and I always deal 50 damage. And I was like, what is this? I was like, I shoot a tidal wave and I hope to wash someone away. That's how I play D&D. So to be fair, min-max was a term that I think I learned at the tail end of 2019, just as our campaign was ending.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had something to add to that, Coyle, or...
No, sorry. Whenever I DM with a min-maxer, I purposefully try to kill them as much as possible.
No.
Well, it's my whole thought process for min-maxers is, as long as the player's not an asshole or anything.
Sure.
You know, it's my more important thing with DM is, like, I don't care what you play as, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just know that depending on what you choose, there might be consequences. Like a good example is, so the campaign I've been doing for 2 years, the majority of the players are all like, humans and elves and, oh God, what do we got? Like a tiefling and something like that. So pretty vanilla races in terms.
Sure.
We had this player, I ended up kicking him out of the group. He got banned from the local game store too. But he decided he wanted to play a goblin, barbarian, monk, and rogue multi-class. And I'm all like, oh, okay. And he explained what he wanted to do. I'm like, okay, that's fine as long as it's within the rules, because I'm a big stickler with as long as it fits within the rule set, I'm okay. But I told him he came on a day where they were actively raiding a castle full of goblins and orcs. And I told him, listen, you may want to rethink your goblin idea because, one, this group has faced plenty of goblins and orcs and they're not very friendly to them. And two, they're actively in sort of a castle right now fighting them. He's like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But then he ended up getting really pissed off when the players role playing as, there's this random goblin coming up trying to help them fight the other goblins and orcs. They don't know what's going on. And so they're like, who the fuck are you? Like almost trying to kill him because, they don't know. And
if you're a fighter and you're cleaving and there's a goblin next to you, you're going to go, okay, yeah, my cleave's going to hit this goblin too. It's a goblin.
Right.
Always be cleaving.
That's correct.
Yeah, and it just those kind of players just frustrate the hell out of me because it's like they can't discern from the actual playing and role playing of it and understand like these characters. I ended up kicking that player out because he would cheat in D&D. Like out of all the games to cheat in, like why?
Yeah,
why? Like I would see him try to cheat on his rolls. Like, oh, I rolled a nat 20. Like, no, you didn't. I saw you move the dice.
Yeah. Now, I will say that I might be one of the people that is like this. It's frustrating to play with if you can't separate the role playing from real life, because I do play a very deceptive character most of the time. And although player knowledge, everyone knows exactly what I'm doing, it can be frustrating for the other people in the party to have to go, I have to pretend that I don't know what's happening right now.
And sometimes that's the most fun,
even though you just stole
too.
half my inventory.
Yeah, I find that to be some of the most fun because, being a DM, a lot of what happens with the monsters. Like, there's stat blocks and all that stuff. But it's fun as a player, though, when it's like, oh, there's this, I don't know, a beholder or whatever. Oh, my character's never heard of a beholder before. How hard could it be?
It's just a big eyeball.
Yeah, it's not that tough, right? Oh, I'm dead. I find that to be some of the fun. I find that some fun. Like you get to play a character that is dumb and all that stuff. Like I was just in a session where I'm playing an Echo Knight fighter, which holy shit, Echo Knights are so much fun. Well, I don't know if you've played them or heard of them or anything. So, Andy, do you know what an Echo Knight is?
I don't.
No. So, Echo Knight is a fighter class where you can essentially summon, I guess, a copy of yourself. And it's sort of like a translucent copy of yourself, and you can control that copy to attack for you. It only has 1 hit point. It has a decent-ish AC. But once it gets hit, it's dead, or it just disappears, and you can't be more than 30 feet away from it. But the fun thing is, like, you can just. So this fighter that I built is sort of a sneaky fighter, like high in dex and high in stealth. So he'll like hide behind a pillar, summon the Echo to go do all the fighting, do all the dirty work for him, and
I'm here for this. Yes.
But he's
sign me up. Check.
He's been so much fun to play, but he's also dumb as well too. We just had a whole session where there's this important elf queen lady, and we had to hide out in an inn, and she knocks on the door, and I open the door, and both player knowledge and character knowledge, I didn't know who they were. Because the DM told us like, hey, she's gonna be showing up or whatever, but me as a player, I completely forgot. I thought it was some random person showing up at the door, and I'm all like, who the fuck is this? So I'm roleplaying like, who are you? I'm not interested.
No solicitor.
Exactly. That's how I was doing it. It was great. Oh, man. So are you all playing D&D right now at all or anything?
No, I'm currently trying to develop a campaign for our play group, but, you know, I'm also got this podcast thing going on and my full-time job, and I've brewed like 2 decks in the past week and a half, and there hasn't been a ton of progress made on it. I almost have the first session completely written up.
To be fair, Coyle's also waiting on feedback from some people about the situation that he's laid out. He wants to know what the characters are doing, and people like me have not provided our feedback yet. So to be honest, it's not just Coyle. I am also delaying us from playing.
So just for some background, we're playing a Ravnica campaign.
Best plane ever. Love it.
It's okay.
And it's
okay. The source book was great, by the way, that Wizards came up. I loved it. I've read that multiple times already.
So the campaign is going to start with an attack on Rakdos's life, and we're going to see what comes from that. But we have someone from the Orzhov Guild. We have 2 people from Rakdos, 1 person from Izzet, 1 person from Gruul, and then 1 unaligned character that came through the planar portal during War of the Spark. And they're a Viashino from Amonkhet that got covered in Lazotep, but is not a zombie.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
The only reason this character is allowed to do all of these things is because they're the only person who has absolutely no background knowledge of Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
It's our producer. It's our producer who doesn't play Magic. Just learned how to play Magic in November and December on Arena. So we could do a video that's going to be coming out soon for all of our patrons. Watching him play a couple of games that we reacted to.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Recording that.
So Coyle, as a DM, when you're saying you're writing up for a session, what does that mean, or exactly, or what does that look like? Because I just love hearing how other DMs prep and all that.
So I want to prepare enough encounters where all of the players are going to where the session is going to be at least an hour long, because every DM knows that you could put 3 hours into one encounter and then the whole party goes, yeah, we're going to go down the street to the inn instead. And then you don't have anything left prepared. I just want to make sure that I have an encounter prepared for like all situations, or at least have something in my back pocket where I can, you know, have them do something if they decide, oh, Rakdos just got shot, and everyone goes, yeah, we don't really care. We're just going to go somewhere else. Like, I don't know what to do then.
So how well are you at improving a lot of this stuff?
I improved a session. So the last thing I DM'd, I did a Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if you're familiar with the anime.
I've seen it. I've been told I need to watch it.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not Full Metal Alchemist. Watch it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So I did a D&D one shot. It was supposed to be a one shot. It ended up being like 3 shots based on Full Metal Alchemist. And I had to, at one point, one of the characters burned a bar down just in the middle of a town. I'm like, well, I can't just not have the guards come after you.
Right.
There was a sewer system in that city that I made up on the spot, and then
because me and one other person wanted to go to a library, so we traversed that.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to be seen. And Coyle's like, I don't know what to do.
The library existed in the notes. The sewer system did not. And the whole campaign went to the sewers. And I had to just keep making it up as we went. It. No.
The library, there was a library that was about to burn down. The bar burned down. And that's the last we saw those characters.
That's great.
Yep.
It's great.
Completely avoided the boss that I spent time putting together.
You just moved the boss to another location. That's all you do.
Didn't complete the mission. Like everything went wrong.
That's some of the best things about D&D is when your players take you for complete surprise. That reminds me of a session I had. The party had to meet up with a group of thieves and Duragar, because the thieves and Duragar needed to basically align each other to fight a bigger enemy, essentially. And the party was infiltrating the thieves' hideout, and they were gonna, because the thieves were essentially the players' enemies and all that stuff. And when they got to the point where the thieves and the Duragar were meeting, and I was fully expecting them to just rush in and just start killing them. Nope, the cleric of the group is like, I'm gonna go talk to him. That's why I asked you, like, oh, so you're talking, and we had this like whole like almost hour role play of just them coming to an agreement that, hey, we need to team up and fight this bigger evil. And I wasn't even mad. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is what I love with D&D, because I had no plans for this, but the thing is, they never got to explore the rest of the thieves' hideout because I had planned all these treasures for them and all that stuff. So they missed out on a bunch of magic items too. But
right?
Oh well. That's some of my favorite. Man.
I'm curious to see what the group does too. I put a lot of work into the 3 shows that are going to be playing at the Rakdos Guild Hall when all this happens, and the different leaders of the shows and stuff, if they want to investigate at all, which was cool, because I started writing this campaign at the end of the year. Well, no, it was like in fall I started writing it. It's been a long time. I know I should have got the first session done by now, but one of the characters that I wrote about was printed on a card in Commander Legends as jury of the review. So he was already in my campaign, and now he's got a card.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's it's I don't know. I just like hearing how other DMs do it, because I'm definitely, so a lot of the campaigns I do, I have a homebrew world. And I'd love to show some people like my freaking Google Drive mess of notes where I have all this lore and all these maps and pictures that I've made. And this is a world that I've been working on since I was a kid too. So it's like my idea of prepping for a session is okay, where are they? What do I want them to do? Okay, cool. We'll just do that. I might write some stuff down, like mainly like some lore based stuff, and that's it. And just like, all right, guys, what do you want to do? Okay, you're doing this. All right, boom, and just go from there. Like, for an example, it's what was it? So I do a D&D campaign. You might see it on my Discord sometimes, with like Pixie and Rhino and Baltan and all them.
Yeah.
There was like a whole friggin' session where Pixie, she's pretty new to D&D still. And one of the things that I love with new players is when you have to show them, like, hey, your actions have consequences, right? Like, you can't just do whatever you want, like a video game, and just expect to get away with it. So they were trying to get into this alchemist shop. And the owner was like, no, you can't come in here. I don't want you in here. But they had to get in there for other reasons. So Pixie just brushes the little gnome away and just walks right in, and I'm all like, and so the owner like starts screaming for the guards, and all the guards start coming, and she's just like, what the fuck? It was great.
I can't be arrested, I'm above the law.
She's also a paladin too. It's like, I'm a paladin.
What?
Well, so it does sort of go with her oath, because she's a vengeance paladin, and there was a reason that they had to go in there, because there was something evil happening in that shop, but the owner didn't want them in there and all that stuff, and the owner was actively trying to get them pushed out, but the owner was trying to be the good person at the time and make them look like the bad guys. It was great.
I hate paladins, for the record. Hate them.
What?
With a passion.
Why?
I strictly play chaotic neutral characters.
Oh, you're the worst.
No, lawful is the worst. Anything lawful.
Chaotic neutral, that's basically just chaotic evil with it's what my character would do. It's what my character would do.
It's called role playing, Zuby.
Though I will say, that vengeance paladins can get away with a lot more compared to other oaths, because they could just be like, oh, well, that was my enemy, I had to kill them. Just like, oh my god, they came across a town that was taken over by a bunch of mind flayers. Like the mind flayers, like, oh wow, like possessed a lot of the people in town, and so it was sort of like what Invasion of the Body Snatchers type thing. They didn't know who was possessed and who wasn't, because the possessed people, I made them act like they were completely normal and all that stuff. Right. But you'd have to really, really interrogate them to figure out if they were taken over or not. So, and who was it that was starting to kill, you know, quote unquote innocent people? It was the paladin.
Of course. Don't trust paladins.
Don't trust the rogue. Never trust the rogue.
You can trust the rogue.
The rogue keeps secrets from
you.
It's hard for my real life
trust
person.
The rogue.
I struggle with that character, and I just don't enjoy it.
Listen, as long as you're a rogue that takes one level in some sort of spell casting, you can cast invisibility and be fully transparent for your party. It's all about transparency, guys.
Yeah.
All about transparency.
Apparently. Or just get a ring of invisibility.
Perfect. I'll take it. Right from your finger.
Yeah. That reminds me, so the current rogue that we have in the part in our campaign, I think one of the first sessions, he managed to get some, I can't remember how, I got to look at my notes. He managed to get some poison arrows somehow, and I can't remember how he did, but he went to go to a shopkeep and to try to figure out what kind of poison it was. Like it was a shopkeep that was known to dealing with you know, poisons and all that stuff, and who was also a thief as well too. So, and I'm pretty sure I roleplayed this badly, but he handed the arrows to the shopkeep, and he was all like, well, could you try to figure out what kind of poison this is and all that? And, you know, the shopkeep's like, oh, I'm not sure what kind of poison it is and all that. You know, she sniffs it and, you know, like lightly taste it. And I told him the whole time, like, you know, in my head, I knew like, okay, this is going to be like instant death poison. And so as soon as she tastes it, she dies. And there's other people in the shop. And they start accusing the rogue of, you know, oh, you killed her, and all that. And what does he do? Instead of just try to save himself, he kills the other two people.
Now that he knows he has instant death poison.
Coyle's rogue, though, he would have missed both times he swung and would have died.
That's true, which is why I always go for persuasion instead.
Oh, that's great.
The shopkeep was a doppelganger. This is actually my shop.
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
See, I would have enjoyed that, but no. Instead, the rogue just decided to kill both people.
Sure.
Yeah. Just like, oh, why? he did end up getting away with it because he very high in stealth and was able to run away. But it was great. Wow. So that was a lot of D&D talk. I mean, I could keep going. But I guess we'll talk some Magic. I guess. I mean.
I guess.
So what are your guys' thoughts about Kaldheim so far? I'll be honest, like when I did Magic for Normies with Pixie last week and we were talking about Kaldheim previews, I know since then there's been like 5 million more that have come out. I've barely seen anything, only because I've been so busy with work and a lot of behind the scenes stuff too.
So I really like a lot of the cards in this set. I think I like a lot more of Kaldheim than I did of some previous sets. I'm a really big fan of Gods and modal double face cards.
And I love the enchantments, the sagas.
I'm here. I love sagas. I really like the number of legendary creatures we're seeing. I mean, we're seeing a lot. We haven't been able to determine if it's too many or too little or where we're at yet. But I'm a fan of these cards. They seem really fun. Lots of cards that fit into decks that I'm going to be playing, which is really the most important part to me.
Right.
Is am I going to be able to play these in decks that I already have established since Commander's our primary format and what our podcast is about? We have a format where our decks aren't constantly rotating out of any sort of legality, so we can just constantly add to them. So I always like when I get a set that adds a lot. I was a huge fan of Zendikar Rising because I got a lot out of that into all of my decks. And I from what I've seen so far, I'm probably going to be adding quite a few cards to the decks that I have. I'm not sure if that's just because of the decks that I build or if this is a pretty good set for Commander, but I'm happy with it so far.
What about you, Coyle?
I think this set is like, well, we know from discussions with some of the members of Wizards of the Coast, they are trying to fit into the standard sets, a lot of stuff for Commander, and I totally agree. This is a big love letter to Commander, hidden behind these double faced cards. A 5-color enchantment Commander, a Commander that is an enchantment.
Oh, that's right. It's that green one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, even on top of that, you have a creature that flips, a creature / planeswalker Commander now. That you can have.
Oh, the Tybalt. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Tybalt's actually decent.
Yes.
You have a mono red Commander that basically has the excess damage thing. There's just so many really cool mechanics on all of these legendary creatures to build brand new decks on top of a lot of cards, like Andy said, that are going to be going into the 99 or the 98 if you got partners, into these decks that already exist. It's cool to see, in my opinion, it's cool to see returning characters, not just planeswalkers, but maybe Praetors too. Returning Praetors are pretty cool, and I'm excited.
I mean, it's Vorinclex though.
But think about it. That means the next set, Strixhaven, maybe, Jin Gitaxias.
Maybe we can get rid of all of them and never have to go back to Mirrodin.
Maybe Mirrodin is going to be crashing into another plane.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that.
Maybe it'll be crashing into Innistrad. I've already got that theory that it's the Phyrexians are somehow taking over Innistrad, and Emrakul has to be released from her prison to save the plane.
So a baddie from a previous set is going to kill the baddie currently, and Emrakul is really still the big baddie?
Well, no, Emrakul was our savior the entire time.
I just want to see the standard set where you're releasing 5 Praetors and an Eldrazi in the same set.
Oh, God.
If Vorinclex is still alive. Which doesn't seem like it, but the story hasn't been released yet. Okay,
I have not read any of the story or anything.
There's one card that got released. It is a story spotlight card called Kaya's Onslaught. And it features Kaya above Vorinclex's head with her knives above her head. And the quote at the bottom says, "Your trail ends here." So
yeah, but how the
you
hell?
Assume?
Because I thought the Praetors were like, the best of the Phyrexians, like stronger than Eldrazi and all that stuff. Like, how in the hell would Kaya?
I don't think they're stronger than Eldrazi.
Well, they're supposed to be super strong and smart, aren't they? Like, how the hell would Kaya even be able to kill Vorinclex, or what happened to? Well, bigger question is, how the hell did Vorinclex even get here?
So that, I think, is the cool part. The lore behind Kaldheim, I think, is, and we talked about it on our last podcast episode, but the lore behind Kaldheim, I think, or I guess the mechanics behind the lore in Kaldheim, I think, are setting up the Magic universe to a really cool storyline with the world tree housing 10 realms, which are basically mini planes that you can go back and forth. Even if you're not a planeswalker, you can go back and forth between these realms. So maybe, we already saw Tezzeret steal the planar bridge from Kaladesh so that non-planeswalkers could planeswalk. So maybe this is going to be another way non-planeswalkers can planeswalk.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
And I'm in for it. I'm there for it. And if you've read up on all of your Ravnica books and War of the Spark books, you know that my favorite bad guy seems to be the new ultimate bad guy from Ravnica.
Who's that?
Lazav.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was someone else.
I didn't see that coming, I'll be honest. But a lot of people are arguing that those books are not canon. So
what does Wizards say?
Okay. I still haven't read the second War of the Spark book, Forsaken, and I've been told probably not even worth it.
To be honest, Coyle and I enjoyed it. It's a fun story. I mean, was it written expertly? Probably not. But I listened to it, so I had the audiobook, and I would go on jogs, and it moves along quickly. I don't think it's a terrible book. I think some of the stories online that we were getting previously, like the Ixalan block stories, were probably of the caliber that folks would have enjoyed. But I don't think it was complete trash, which is what was going around online. I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah. I looked at it the same way I look at Star Wars, and people are going to get at me for this. I think that any Star Wars content is good because I just want more.
Except we can skip episodes 1 and
what?
It's very important. Very important.
All right.
Hey, that's pod racing you're talking about getting rid of.
Did you ever see episode 1 in theaters?
Yeah.
That pod racing scene in the theaters was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It was it was amazing. And then you're
gonna get awful comments from the faces that I'm making right now in this video, and I apologize.
Oh, I don't care. I don't give a crap.
We're gonna get awful comments on our show now because of the face I'm making. No, I did not enjoy episodes 1 and 2.
I mean, that's fine.
To be honest, I didn't watch my first Star Wars movie until I was like 25. My dad apologized. He goes, I saw Star Wars episode 4 like literally 7 or 8 times in the movie theater. He goes, no idea why I never made you watch it, or why I never introduced you to it. So I knew nothing. And it took me until probably 3 years ago to understand the reference. These are not the insert something you are looking for. I was like, I don't know what everybody's talking about. It took me so long. I was like, I understand this joke now.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm with you on some other stuff like that too. But oh shoot, going back with Magic, but the story is so I used to follow the story a lot, especially when it was online. Besides the Ixalan block, and it's probably going to get me some hate too. When they used to do, I don't know if they do it now, but when they had the internal team that would write the stories, some of the writers were good. Other writers, I'm sorry, were trash. They just their writing style and prose was so bad, where it'd just be so jarring, because I would usually wait for all the chapters to come out and then read it all at once, like just take an evening, because it doesn't take long to read it all. And it'd be so jarring. You'd go from one chapter, okay, this is really well written, really good. Next chapter, like, what the fuck? Like, who wrote this?
Yeah,
just garbage. That was my biggest complaint with story.
I know they transitioned with a lot of the artwork telling the story for a while there, and I really liked the way the story was released with War of the Spark. I thought that was great. From a marketing perspective, that's my background, and the cards were released in a specific order, and you saw them on a specific day. You were like, oh, they told us the story of how this kind of happened. That was wonderful. But I read the books for Return to Ravnica, Gatecrash, and Dragon's Maze, and they were it felt very supplemental. Just, we got it, and that was kind of cool. Those were online, download only, and it was nice to have, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything elaborate.
Right. Yeah.
So I think they're moving back towards that because they've learned folks really want to read them. I read probably half of the Zendikar Rising story. I haven't finished it yet. I mean, obviously we know the story, but I didn't finish the actual story.
I actually don't
I
know
think
the
those
story.
are great.
I've completely ignored
it.
I've been like, ever since the War of the Spark, I've kind of completely ignored the story of like everything past that, because and this is where some of my problems lie with just the storyline. Now that Wizards has gone to just one set per plane, I feel like not only as the card pool, we don't get to see enough of a single plane now, because it's just one and done type thing. Because back in the day, you look at Ravnica, Theros, and Khans and all that, and Mirrored and Innistrad, 3 sets, big, small, small, or big, small, big, whatever the size would be for the sets. We'd be able to at least get to see a lot more of the mechanics drawn out throughout the plane, and a lot more of the story get to be drawn out as well too that was happening. Now it's just one and done, where when they were trying to release they weren't releasing novels at a fast pace at the time when they were trying to go to the novel route, because we didn't get anything for Theros, nothing, and that was the plane I was so excited about to actually read a story. No, instead we got 2 paragraphs of this is what happened. I'm all like, this is bullshit right here. And then Ikoria got some ebook or something. I didn't even bother with that, and I haven't read anything with Zendikar. So for anyone out there who may know better, are these weekly stories better than what we were getting? Or are they better or comparable to the novels? And I feel like you as a marketing person, Andy, did Wizards flub the idea of releasing novels more for each plane? Because all these are planned ahead of time and all that stuff, so they'd be able to source out authors of hey, this is how we want the story to be.
From a marketing perspective, I think it's probably smarter, honestly, to do what they did, which is either release them through the cards or release online stories, I'll be honest. But I think a lot of people who are enfranchised and are really involved and really are into that would much rather have a book. And honestly, I like holding a tangible object, and I would rather physically read it. I mean, I wouldn't even take a class in college if I had to have an ebook. And I had my last class ever because it was 2020 and Corona, everything happening. I had to have an ebook because the books weren't even printed because they ran out of printer paper.
Oh, God.
The printer didn't, they were like, we literally can't print these books. It was awful. So personally, I think the people that you heard the most from are the folks that wanted an actual book. In the grand scheme of things, I think they've learned that you need to have an even, a middle ground.
Well, and so they did release, they had some books that got released that were in parallel with the story, but they had the Davriel Kane book, the
Brandon Sanderson one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Something about a child. That's about all I know. But that book was really, really good. And I like that a lot. And, it doesn't affect the main Magic storyline. We saw Davriel on Ravnica during War of the Spark, but that was the only tie-in to the main storyline. So maybe if they just, released stories that didn't affect the main storyline, but still gave you some background into, well, in that case, it was on the plane of Innistrad. And I started playing with Amonkhet. I was already past Innistrad, so I got to learn a lot about Innistrad when I read that book. I thought that was interesting. But I do challenge people who don't like the short storytelling and stuff and want to go to a novel. Read the novels for the Brothers' War and then get back to me on whether you want to read the short stories or not, because those are hard to read books.
And when you mean hard to read books, what do you mean exactly?
Are you an avid reader of J.R. Tolkien?
Oh yeah, I've read a lot of fantasy stuff.
Have you read the Silmarillion?
Mm-hmm.
So it is the Silmarillion of Magic lore.
Oh, really?
It's tough. It's real tough.
I thought the Brothers' War story was fantastic, though.
The story's good. The book, the actual what happened, is fantastic.
Yeah.
The book's rough.
Interesting. I've never read them before.
Interesting to hear that. I've never heard that. I've never heard that until just now.
Because I basically consider the Silmarillion written almost like the Bible in a sense, and it's very similar to that. So, are you saying that it's very similarly written like the Silmarillion?
No, it's similarly difficult to get through. Personally, I love the Lord of the Rings. I love the Hobbit. Read them all 4 books probably 3 or 4 times. I've seen all the movies a bunch of times.
Only 3 or 4 times? What the fuck, man?
I had to do it. I had a class on it in college actually, and for our final report, we were limited we were limited to 3 pages. My report was 10 pages, and my professor told me, I don't have time to read this. You need to reduce it down to 3 pages. So I'm a very, very avid fan, and I could not read like more than 5 pages of the Silmarillion without falling asleep. There was no action. There was no story. It was just regurgitating information at you.
It's lore. Yeah. I love it.
The funny thing is, I couldn't even get through the Lord of the Rings movies because all they do is walk around.
That is not true.
I saw the first movie, and then I fell asleep during the second and said, I will not be watching the third.
Well, it's not like the second movie. I feel like out of the 3, the second movie is the worst one.
Literally the opposite. Really? I think The Two Towers is the best movie of all 3.
I couldn't even watch it, so I don't know where I fall on that scale. It was painful.
I mean, so my argument for it is, so I'm like a Tolkien purist, right?
Sure.
Like Fellowship of the Ring is the best one out of the 3 because it is the closest it could be to the books.
Okay.
I'm about to get in a big argument with you right now.
Oh, okay. So let's have it out. Let's have it out.
Okay. Arguably, and this is a big arguably, the most important character in the Fellowship of the Ring, the most powerful character in the Fellowship of the Ring book, not in the movie. His name is Tom Bombadil, and he doesn't exist in the movie at all.
So I would agree with you there, and my interpretation and understanding of the fact was, and I agree with this, is that in terms of a movie, it would slow down the movie's pace to a stop, where when after they leave Brandybuck, that literally nothing happens. They get, Old Man Willow gets them, and then Tom Bombadil comes, and then they go through the Barrow Downs, essentially. And when you think about that whole section from the Old Forest up till Bree, it's not important to the bigger storyline, except for when, the hobbits get their swords from the Barrow Downs, because that's the sword that Merry has to use in order to take out the protective shielding from the Witch King, which they never ever explained that either.
No, they did not.
Because if it wasn't for Merry and Éowyn, they never would have killed the Witch King. And had Merry not had that sword from the Barrow Downs. But in the grand scheme of things, as far as a movie goes, it's not important to making the story go forward.
Okay. So there is a different 20-minute scene of the Fellowship trying to climb over the mountain when ultimately having to turn back and going through the Mines of Moria, that I would also argue is completely unnecessary for a movie.
Well, the one thing I'd say about that, I'm sorry, Andy.
No, it's fine. Coyle's making my point. There were lots of unnecessary walking and now apparently climbing as well that I did not see, that we could have shortened these down to 25, 30 minutes each, and I could have been good, right?
So I know they wanted to establish that Saruman was the one causing that storm on the mountain, why they couldn't just easily pass the mountains. I don't like, because in the books it was more of Caradhras, or however, I'm so bad at pronouncing the names. It was basically like the mountain spirit of Caradhras was stopping them, essentially. So I understand why they wanted to do that. And even in the books, it wasn't that big of a deal. Well, I mean, it was a big deal. They had to go to Moria, but I also didn't like how Gimli was like, oh yeah, totally, my family's still there. Yeah, it's just we haven't happened to hear from them in like 50, 60 years,
Yeah.
But they're still alive. Yeah, sure, no problem.
They'll welcome us with open arms. Absolutely.
Listen, I only have one other thing to say about the Lord of the Rings. They have the names Sauron and Saruman. Are they the same person?
Sauron and Saruman. Not the same person. Not even on the same level, technically.
One is that they're both that Maia. Out light, right?
No. One's the wizards are the Astari.
No, but they're both Maia, though. But both Sauron and Saruman are both Maia. They came from Valinor, yeah. They are. The Astari are Maia. That they're
they're
like the demigods or angels or whatever of the Vala.
I want to argue with you, but I don't have my notes in front of me right now.
They are, because Morgoth came from Valinor. He was a Valar. He was the one who corrupted the song from Eru, and he ended up corrupting Sauron, who was a Maia as well. And Saruman, Gandalf, the two blue wizards, I forget their names right now, like Palando.
They don't have names.
No, they do have names.
They do not have names.
They do have names. They're in the Unfinished Tales. Palando and Alatar, I think it is. And then Radagast, they're all Maia as well. I want to say...
I'm putting an essay together to argue with you.
Can you tell us your thesis real quick? What is your thesis statement?
So the thesis is that the Astari are not Maia.
In this paper, I will present a case to argue against Zuby.
Gandalf was a Maia. Or Maiar, or however you say the names. Is Coyle looking it up right now?
Of course I'm looking it up
Coyle is
right
Googling.
now.
Oh my gosh.
So Coyle, what's the next argument with Fellowship of the Ring? Because I've got some big arguments with Two Towers, like not being like faithful, and it's like the two biggest sins of the movie.
I mean, honestly, that was pretty much it. Is Tom Bombadil is like pretty much my only argument against Fellowship of the Rings. I still think it's an absolutely fantastic movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The two towers, I think, had the best fight scene, the best battle scene that's ever been seen in a movie.
Oh, Helm's Deep was amazing.
Yeah,
best battle scene in any movie in all of existence.
That is correct.
I feel like Helm's Deep was better than the Siege of Minas Tirith, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree.
Like the Rohirrim, like the whole charge of the Rohirrim, like, you know, you can't fucking beat that though in Return of the King. But as far as like the battle as a whole, Helm's Deep was better.
Yep, totally agree. So now the Ents were supposed to be there for Helm's Deep, and that didn't make it into the movie. But the Ents were still there.
In the extended edition, they were the Huorns were there, not the Ents.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they showed them in the extended edition.
And I mean, I guess if you want to, we could argue extended edition versus normal edition. What made it in the cut? What didn't make it in the cut?
There's only extended edition. Theatrical editions do not exist at all.
I wish I could say that, but most of the time when I'm arguing with people about Lord of the Rings, it's people who have not seen the extended edition, and I can't. I'm not. I don't have that level of petty to go like I'm not talking to you. You haven't seen the extended edition.
I'm sorry, I can't talk to you if you haven't seen the extended edition. Because it's like those aren't the movies. Those are the movies. The theatrical versions, they don't exist anymore. I don't believe they're real. They're not the real Lord of the Rings movies. So my two biggest sins that I feel like Peter Jackson committed in Two Towers were Aragorn basically dying, which I thought was completely fucking useless and dumb, and it was only shoehorned in because they had to do something with Arwen. And then what they did to Faramir was such a tragedy in that movie, and having Faramir take Frodo and Sam to Osgiliath, where it's like, no, that should have never ever happened. Right. They should have shown, since they wanted to, and I understand why, because they wanted to show, okay, the ring can corrupt anybody, right? But and also
except for Tom Bombadil
and Faramir, because he said, I would not pick this up should it lay on the side of the road when he met Frodo and Sam.
If he did pick it up, though, it would have corrupted him.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can argue that. But but he knew what the hobbits had, and he was like, no, I'm going to let you go. He knew. And it's like that should have shown the complete difference between Boromir and Faramir there. But no, they're like, oh, no, we got to make Faramir a daddy's boy who needs daddy's love and, daddy's approval. And I'm just like, oh, it's so dumb. And they should never been to Osgiliath, because that makes zero sense at all. And those are my big reasons why I hate Two Towers. Like, I was visibly pissed. Like, I remember seeing them. I mean, that's not even to count, like, what I consider the biggest sin of Return of the King is when Frodo tells Sam to go home. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, I remember being so pissed in the movies. Like, what? No, they're both supposed to go in Shelob's lair, and Sam's supposed to fight off Gollum while Frodo's getting fucked by Shelob and all that. Like, what the fuck?
You guys read the books, I assume, before the movies came out?
Oh, I read the books. I read the books like way before the movies came out. When I was a kid, did I understand it all? No, but I understood the gist of what happened.
It took me a long time to understand people's reactions to a movie after they've read the book, because I was not an avid reader growing up, and the first movie that I had seen where I had actually read the book beforehand was The Hunger Games. And there were so many things that were different based on the book.
Oh, yeah.
So when I hear people get really, really heated now, I was like, they're probably right. They're probably completely right. Everything that was written in that book is no longer in this movie. I believe them. I believe you.
There's only one book I have ever read that I thought the movie did way better, and that was The Godfather. I felt like the Godfather movie was way better than the book. Only because, have either of you seen The Godfather?
I actually haven't.
I have never seen The Godfather.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I'm bad with movies, okay? There's so many movies
you're talking about
seen, classics. Everybody's like, Andy, have you seen this?
One of the greatest movies ever made.
I'm
I mean, I think if we want to talk about a movie that we've all seen, Pokemon the movie,
2000. If you didn't cry,
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Zuby, if you watch it now, you will sob.
You need to just look up the scene of Mew talking to Mewtwo and Meowth having to translate everything. It's really great to watch with absolutely no context what's going on in the rest of the movie at all.
I saw that in theaters.
Oh,
I
wow.
got the promo cards handed to me from the person standing at the concession stand.
I think by the time that movie came out, I was already done with Pokemon, because I played it when the game first came out on Game Boy, the very first one, and I know I collected Pokemon cards, but like a year or two after, I just stopped. Like, I never played Gold and Silver when it came out.
It's the best gen of them all.
I have only ever played Red and Blue, and then I have gone back in recent years and I played like Omega Ruby and all that on the 3DS.
Those ones are also fantastic.
And I had no idea what any of the Pokemon were. I really enjoyed the game because I just needed that Pokemon itch. But other than that, I'm just not really that into it.
Oh, when Fire Red and Leaf Green came out for the Game Boy Advance, and they had wireless connectors for the Game Boys that came with that game. Whoa, that was a game changer.
You had to hook that thing into it too. It wasn't just, that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Now you had to be literally like 6 inches from the other person, the same length as a cable
remember that.
would be.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
You did.
Those were the days.
Do you guys still play Pokemon or anything? Like the games, I mean?
I do. I played Shield and Sword.
Was that any good?
It was. I would say it's fun, but they turned on. I mean, people call folks like me Gen 1ers. Apparently, it's the boomers of Pokemon. The folks that
so I guess I'd be a
want,
boomer too.
Yeah, the people that don't want easy mode turned on. You have, unfortunately, in that game, experience share is turned on, so it doesn't matter who you fight with. Your entire party gains experience, so the game is extremely easy to beat because your party is all at level like 60 or 70 by the time you're at the end, just because you played the game. That was literally my only complaint. I would like to not have that. I don't know why we have gotten to the point where we think that we need to have that turned on at all times, but that's where we are.
Yeah. Some of the big complaints I've heard about, just with people who've played a lot of the games, is that literally every single Pokemon game for the past few years is just the same game over and over again. Just like a different region slapped on. Like, you're still gonna go collect the badges, go fight the Elite Four, and collect the new Pokemon, and that's it. Like, they haven't tried anything new with it or different. I don't know how true that is, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've played them. I mean, Sun and Moon, I actually thought was a lot of fun. I liked playing those. But this year's the 25th anniversary. So I'm curious to see what happens. The next remakes that are supposed to happen are Diamond and Pearl, if they are continuing in the line. Diamond and Pearl was very fun. I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of the speculation is that they're going to do like they just recently did on the Switch, where we got Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. They think they're going to release perhaps graphically updated versions as a bundle of like red, blue, gold, silver, ruby, and crystal to the Switch, which, I mean, of course I would buy that. I don't know how, I can't honestly count the number of times I played those games and the hours that I have put into them and beating them. I mean, I've played every single one of them. So, I hope to see something new, and big Pokemon fan.
Yeah. Speaking of the 25th anniversary, did you hear that Katy Perry is going to be supporting the 25th anniversary of Pokemon this year?
The fuck?
Yeah.
Is this a joke or is this
real? This is real.
What is she gonna do? Like sing a song or something?
Maybe she's gonna sing the Pokemon intro.
Where did you hear this?
From my friend Zach, who I've been.
Oh yeah, he's working on a Pokemon channel.
Yep.
Oh,
so
okay.
my capacity of Pokemon lately has been buying and selling Pokemon cards, because they are very, very hot right now, and there's a good opportunity to, as a collector. They're not, so it's really weird actually to compare the two markets, the Pokemon market and the Magic market. Like, there is a Magic market for collectors, but it's all the vintage stuff. There's a collector's market for Pokemon for the brand new stuff too. Because they just have these super awesome shiny Charizards and Pikachus, because everyone loves Charizard and Pikachu. So those are always become collectors, and it's not.
Yeah, and a lot of the foiling of those are awesome too. Yeah, Pokemon cards,
beautiful.
Way better than what we get in Magic. Like, what the fuck?
But when it comes to our market, a lot of the price of the card is depending upon how good the card is. Yeah, and it's definitely not that way in the Pokemon market. So it is really interesting to compare the two markets.
So Katy Perry, it says that Katy Perry will be working with the company on a year-long music campaign to celebrate 25 years of Pokemon.
Heck yeah.
So I don't know if
I'm here for it.
I don't know if either of you two are fans of Zelda, but this is also the 35th anniversary of Zelda this year too.
I played my first Zelda game with the one that came out on the Switch. That was a remake.
Oh, Link's Awakening, the best Zelda game out of all.
That was the first Zelda game I ever played, and I actually finished the game.
So good. It's so much fun. I love that.
It was fun.
I've played that game so many times. I must have wore out, I don't know how many Game Boy batteries out of that game. And then I've only played the remake once, because I beat it in like 3 to 4 hours, because it's a 1-to-1 remake pretty much. I mean, they've added stuff to it, but
okay.
Isn't that the only Zelda game where the final boss is not Ganon?
No,
it was some big whale thing.
No, because was it Minish Cap? It's Vadi. It was the first Zelda game. Actually no, Zelda 2 Ganon wasn't the last boss. It was like a Thunderbird or your Shadow or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was I had that for the Game Boy. Still have it for the Game Boy, actually. And yeah, that was the first one that I played.
Love it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Still have it. Still play it.
I've got my I'm sure you've seen me post that. I've got my little Zelda shrine and all that stuff. And like you're obsessed with Pokemon, I'm obsessed with Zelda. Like, I forget, Zelda and Final Fantasy are like my two big things that I love.
Never played a Final Fantasy game either.
I mean, you could really pick up any Final Fantasy, and
I was told that you don't have to play them all. Like, they're all independent stories, so you're good to go.
I'm gonna let you borrow.
7's the best, is what I've been told.
Yeah, that's definitely arguable. It's definitely fanboy-y for 7, but I'm gonna let you borrow my DVD copy of Advent Children, Andy, so you can watch it. And as long as you ignore every time Tifa says dilly dally silly Sally, it's gonna be a good movie.
But he'll have like no context of what anything is or what's going on.
Is this a Final Fantasy movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
But he'll have no idea what's going on though.
It's fine. He's a Smash player, so he knows who Cloud and Sephiroth are, and that's all you gotta know.
I do play a lot of Super
Smash. The Geneva Project is literally the most confusing thing I've ever tried to get context for ever. But
so what's your favorite Final Fantasy, Coyle?
It's okay. So this is a little off the wall, and you might call me a cheater for saying this, but it's Final Fantasy Tactics.
No, that's
it's
a really good one.
Specifically advanced for the Game Boy Advance, not Lion's Roar, which was for PlayStation 1, I think.
I can't remember if I played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance or not, because I've only played the one on PlayStation.
Okay. Yeah, so I was always into turn-based strategy games, and that one I could give a gun to a chocobo. So, or not a gun to a Moogle. So what how could you go wrong?
Right. Right. 6 is my favorite. It's like I've played that one so many. It's actually my all-time favorite video game ever. I've played through it so many times.
Wow, all-time favorite ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to argue Super Mario Odyssey was like right up there, and I've heard that Super Mario Odyssey 2 is in the works, and I'll be interested to
see that. Yeah. Oh, I loved Odyssey. Like that's a game, like the first time I played through it, I collected like every single moon and whatever. And now I mean, I've deleted that save because I've gone back and tried to speed run through it and all that. And
it's a long game.
Not really. It's like you can get, I mean, obviously like professional speedrunners.
If you're not collecting you're just doing the main story, then it's a very short main story.
Yeah. I mean, for speedrunners, they're way better, but I've been able to get it down in like less than 3 hours, been able to beat it.
Wow.
So I'm not as good as some of these speedrunners, though. They're freaking ridiculous.
It took me a year and a half, though, because I had to. I mean, at one point, I was just so frustrated with the one level where you have to land like 8 long jumps perfect in a row. I just had to put my controller down. I came back 6 months later, and I spent, I think, 3 nights, and I finally got it. And I was like, I've got this. Nice. And then I finally finished it. Bought every costume. I collected everything. And
that was my favorite part of Odyssey.
So I have a problem being a completionist. So some of these games, like Animal Crossing, give me anxiety because I don't know if you ever actually finish that game, and that's a problem for me. So I'm still playing it. I picked it back up at Christmas, like everyone else did, just around New Year, and I'm still playing every day, but I'm stressed out when I see other people's islands, and it's like they've played for 1,100 hours, and it's like you've played for 100. It's like, oh,
I know. I think I've only got like 150 hours in, and it's like I'm at a point now where besides the special events, I don't know what else to do besides finish the bug and fish collection and the sea collection. I'm like, besides that, I've already built the island to the way I like it. Yeah, there could be some improvements I need to make here and there, like small ones, but other than that, for the most part, my island's done.
I learned of an entire Pinterest world of Animal Crossing in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, how you can get like the code, like how they share codes and all that? Or?
They share codes, but they're like, if you would like to make a seaside cafe, here's how I did it. And I was like, oh my God, that looks great. And I don't have time. I also don't know what recipes you have. And then I got a recipe from someone, and it was like, you need these 14 things to make this one thing. Oh, but you don't have the 14 recipes you need to make. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what any of this stuff is.
I'm glad I didn't find out about those when I was heavy into Animal Crossing, because I'd probably gotten deep into it. Because I got deep into finding like, custom made codes for, pathways and other art and all that stuff and clothes and all that. Dude, I got deep into that. Like, I didn't know like Pinterest groups existed for here's how you build this and that. Like, oh fuck.
I just recently found like 2 or 3 channels on YouTube, which was a big mistake for me because
I'm glad I never looked that up too.
is they tour themed islands, and it's really fun to watch. I mean, there's Disney themed islands. There are, they have themes for everything.
Yeah.
And it's so cool, and everything looks so real. Like someone made a restaurant, and they took the pizza oven, but they turned it around and put chairs in front of it. It looks like countertop, like bars, like a bar top. And it's like, it's just a pizza oven that they turned around. And they did that.
I would have never thought of that,
No, and they made like Cinderella's castle out of turning silos around and then terraforming and putting silos on 3 different levels, and you have to stand at one specific angle. And I was like, it's fantastic, but like, I do not know how much time went into doing that. And that's what stresses me out, because I would love that. But holy cow. And silos are not easy to come by or create or purchase. And they have like 15 to 20 of them to make some big castle.
I'm glad I never found those either, because...
I'll send them your way.
No, please don't. Because I basically built my island to look like, the picturesque 1950s small town, right?
Okay.
And I love that, like little tiny suburbia feel. And then I made, where all the shops are, like, the main street type area and all that. So I don't think I want to change that. It's also got a baseball field because I love baseball. And a town swimming pool as well too.
Oh,
all right.
There was a small community of Twitch streamers and YouTubers that play Mario Maker 2. I don't know if you're familiar with like Grand Pooh Bear,
yes, Grand Pooh Bear,
and those kind of people. So they did some Animal Crossing stuff when Animal Crossing came out. Dragon Feeney, another one of the streamers, hosted a Survivor. They did Survivor in Animal Crossing.
How the fuck would you do that?
I tried getting Andy to watch it. Andy didn't like it, but I liked it.
I couldn't do it because of the 2 characters that basically just cheated in the beginning. I was like, this is silly.
Yes, they did. It wasn't fleshed out in the first episode.
But if it got better than that, I would absolutely circle back to it. The teams were not even number of people, and that was what stressed me. I was like, this should have been even. But after that,
well, how do you play Survivor in Animal Crossing?
They just had like some obstacle courses and stuff that they set up, and if you win, you got. Yeah, and then you could vote people. They even had like little cameras set up in the corner of the island. You go there, do your confessionals. Yeah. It was really well put together, and
it was
another one they did a Deal or No Deal. They bought the aluminum briefcases, a bunch of them, and set it up and did a Deal or No Deal show. Yeah, so
see that stuff sounds fun as hell.
Yeah, so that's what I always kind of wanted to do, obstacle courses and little games, and you could buy stopwatches obviously in the game and everything, and time people, and I thought that would be fun. That means way more to me in the game than making my island pretty.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it's been fun. I've been using the Turnip Exchange website to trade like DIYs and stuff now. I learned of that website, so that was cool. And people that are like, oh, so-and-so is crafting this thing, and you just go pop in, grab it, and leave them $5,000 or something. Like, I only do the ones where you don't really have a fee that you have to pay, but I certainly won't get back into that turnip game though. That's not fun, and it's so much time, and you got to get it done in 7 days. Nope, I have 10 million bells. That's it for me.
It was a lot of fun at first though, like in the beginning of the game, because it was fun trying to get to other people's islands, and then there was the one time where my island, like they were selling for like 600 a pop and all
nice.
That, and I had so many people DMing me and all that stuff, and I made like a bit of bank just on the side besides my own profit that I made. Like I think close to 1 million bells just for people leaving me tips and all that stuff. And
that's great.
Just like hell yeah. Great. I don't know how many Nook Miles tickets I have, but that was fun. See, this is where I wish you could have like multiple islands or just something, because like I said, I want to play the game more, but I just have nothing else to do unless I just delete my island and start all over, which I do not want to do. I don't want to do all that work again. So
just make a second account.
You need a separate Switch for that, though?
You need a separate Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
just buy another Switch.
Well, we do have 2 Switches, but one's for the kids, and they oh my God, they play. We had to buy 2 copies of Animal Crossing because they have.
Share.
Well, not only that, who wants to share? But holy shit, they're like obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. They're the ones. I mean, we used to have 1 Switch before Animal Crossing, and then I never gave a shit about Animal Crossing at all. But then when we bought the game because they wanted it, and I gave it a try, I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot of fun. And then I'm like, fuck, I need to buy a second Switch now. And that's ended up how we got my own Switch, and the kids have their own.
I have the Animal Crossing Switch. I was at GameStop that morning, really early.
Nice.
I was tired in the dark. They had one Switch. There were like 8 people in line. The guy gets there and goes, "Who's here for the Switch?" Literally, we all raise our hand. He goes, "I've got one. Who was here first?" It was me. And they were like, "It's yours. Everybody else, I don't have one." Everybody else left. I was like, thank God I got here at 4:15 this morning. It was only like 25 minutes before someone else got there. And we waited until they opened at like, I think it was like 9.
Wow, glad you didn't have any assholes that tried to fight you for it or something. Or
sitting there, and it was not warm on the cement in the parking lot. That was me.
Damn. The last time I even did something like that was for the Super Nintendo Mini. We did a midnight release for it, and my friends and I we had to travel to a Walmart like almost 100 miles away at night to go try and get one because we wanted one so bad, and it was fun. Really fun the whole experience was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
I camped out there enough.
I just want to say how happy I am that on the Super Nintendo Mini they put Super Mario RPG.
Yes, I love that. Why haven't they put that on the Switch yet? Like, why?
So Super Mario RPG is technically owned by Square Enix.
I know, and they just need to shut up and put it on there.
Well, it was on the Wii Virtual Console.
Yeah, that's right, it was.
So I am actually surprised it's not on the Switch, but they'd rather push Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which is what came after they said, hey, we don't need to pay Square Enix to make our turn-based RPGs anymore.
And I'm sorry, Paper Mario sucks compared to Super Mario RPG. I've only played the 64 one, and I did buy the Switch one, and it sucks. I do not like the Paper Mario Switch. It looked awesome. Really awesome. I hate the combat for it, where everything
my
has
husband
to be
never finised it for that exact reason. He goes, well, this was a little repetitive, and he never finished the game.
Not only repetitive, but I don't need like boss battles to be puzzles and all that. So I was like, I bought this because I thought it was an RPG. I don't want to think, essentially. Oh no, now you're making me think. I hate you.
Yeah. But yeah, before when you were asking me about my favorite Final Fantasy game, I forgot to ask you if we could pick anything that Square Enix made, because if I could, it would be Super Mario RPG, which features one Final Fantasy boss that you don't have to fight.
Yeah, what Final Fantasy was that from? Was it 4 or?
I think so. It might have been one of the ones at the time that was only released in Japan because it was too hard for Americans, because that's what Japan did with their games back then.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy 2 and 3, we didn't see Final Fantasy 2 until was it PlayStation 1, and Final Fantasy 3 didn't get released until the DS. I mean, like I played ROM hacks of them back in the day when, that was all cool to do, but
I'm reading about Culex right now.
Yeah, I don't remember where the heck he was from, but I love the hell out of that game. Freaking I just want to see Gino in another game at some point, because Gino and Mallow I love them.
So I've been talking to Andy about Gino for years and years and years about how they need to make Gino into a Smash character. They did release a costume for the Mii Gunner for Gino, and that's the most we're gonna get as a playable Gino character. It's a shame. That being said, I hate Mallow. I think I is like my least favorite character in a video game.
Wow.
He's just a big crybaby.
Well, yeah, he thought he was a frog, bro.
He's dumb if he thinks he's a frog. He's a cloud. He's literally a cloud.
And that's actually my favorite section of the game, the Cloud Kingdom.
That's boss, that dragon. Oh, so good.
Hard.
I do like, I can't remember his name. The guy that kidnaps Peach right before you get Peach as a playable character.
Oh, are you talking about, the Booster?
Booster's castle is really...
Oh, that was fun as hell. Yeah, that's where you get Bowser, too, right at the beginning of the castle, or the tower, or whatever. And then, you got to save Peach from getting married to Booster, and that's where you can have Mario kiss someone or get a kiss from someone, either from Peach or from Booster or Bowser.
Yep.
That was great.
It's really cool. That game was absolutely fantastic, and
it was
just
like,
to see all the bosses in it and stuff too.
And it was like, I hate to use the word groundbreaking, but it was groundbreaking in the sense that, Mario doesn't just have to be a platform game. Yeah, I know there's been other Mario spin-offs, like, at least at the time, there was what Mario is Missing, Mario's Time Machine. There was even like Mario Teaches Typing for some educational use.
Dr. Mario.
Yeah, Dr. Mario. There wasn't Mario Tennis at the time, but he showed up as like a referee. So like he would show up in other games as like some cameo spots, but that was like one of the first successful Mario spin-offs, if I can remember at the time.
It turned into the very successful Game Boy Advanced Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Are those any good? Because I've never played them at all.
Yes, they are very good. They're very Super Mario RPG-esque in terms of, timing on your attacks in order for them to do extra damage and that kind of stuff. Little puzzles here and there in the overworld. And
nice.
They are fantastic games.
Nice. Have you ever played them, Andy?
Not played those either.
No?
I have never played them. What's funny is I bought one for cheap and it ended up being a fake copy. It arrived and it wasn't real. I was like, well, because I'm not playing this.
That's disappointing.
It was.
So
I bought
it didn't work?
on eBay and it was fake. It was not real. It didn't work at all. No, you put it in and it just doesn't work. And I was like,
you got your money back, right?
That's what I get for buying a game that I thought was like $10. I don't know how old I was. I don't think I returned it. No, I was just like, I guess I'm not playing this. I went back to playing some other game that I've been playing for forever.
Damn.
No, wasn't there. There were some of those. When was the most recent Mario and Luigi Super Saga?
I have no idea.
I don't even know.
It's been a while.
It was, so I think the most recent one was, it's called like Bowser's Inside Out or something like that. And basically you control Bowser from the inside as Mario and Luigi. You get swallowed by Bowser and you fight like viruses and stuff that are inside of him. And then at the end,
sounds hilarious.
It's a very interesting storyline, that's for sure.
That sounds hilarious. Oh man. Shit, we're coming up on 2 hours here, and I know I have to get going. I've got a meeting right at 8:00 for whatever reason they wanted to schedule that. Like,
okay.
Love those early morning meetings.
I'm not even gonna be like, I'm barely gonna be awake during this, and I gotta like be able to think.
That's how it is, right?
I just want to thank you both for coming on, and plus it is getting a little late too. I could keep going with this, but I know I got to be cognizant of people's times and my own time as well too. So,
we appreciate that.
No, thank you both for coming on. I had a blast just BSing about whatever. We talked about DnD, a little bit of Magic. Magic was there. Your podcast. Coyle learned that the Istari are actually Maia.
I'm writing an essay.
You're writing? Oh, just look it up.
I'm writing an essay as to why I think I'm right.
I'll write the essay after you finish our session 1 of our D&D campaign.
Okay, deal. Plus our exclusive Patreon content, which I am getting close to being done with.
Ooh.
Okay, so you're not right because Tolkien has even
He's
said...
dead.
Wow, okay. Let's just use that. He's
dead.
Dead.
This got dark. This podcast, this show got dark. To all you listeners, I apologize.
How did this latest episode end? Coyle said Tolkien's dead and his opinion doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Anyways, so Coyle was wrong about that. No, but we talked a lot of good stuff. And thank you both for coming on. It was great. And I look forward to playing some Magic with you all some more. And yeah, I guess I'll be on your stream. And so go ahead and tell people where people can find you on all the socials and all that.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter personally at ATFlory.
And you can find me on Twitter personally at WormCoilEngine.
And then you can find our show online at theguardianprojectpodcast.com. It's not it's just guardianprojectpodcast.com. I just say the all the time. You can find us on Twitter at GuardianPod. You can email us at guardianprojectpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/theguardianproject and on YouTube at youtube.com/theguardianproject.
And then every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/ATFlory. See, that one's different.
That one is different because we're using my Twitch stream to stream for the show. That one is different.
Interesting. Awesome. Yeah, so that'll be all in the show notes below. And thank you both for coming on, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Have a nice night.
Hey everybody, thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I had a great time talking with them. Thank you again all for listening and watching out there. I do appreciate you all. And definitely be sure to check out the Guardian Project podcast. They do some great work. Definitely check out their YouTube stream or their Twitch streaming as well. I'll be playing EDH with them on February 11th right now. So look forward to that. And I hope you all have a great night, and thank you again.